What's up, guys? Ruben the Builder here. Over the past 7 years now, I have built over 250 homes using very little of my own money, syndicating the money, bringing on investors, splitting profit with them, having a profit share at the end. I am a licensed general contractor, and I'm going to break that down for you guys. If you're here right now and you have some experience in construction and you want to scale your company without having to use too much of your capital, I'll tell you how I did it. And maybe you'll find some value in this. If you're here and you have no money at all and no experience whatsoever, I recommend you start building a first personal house. The reason is because the down payment's very little. You can hire a builder to manage the process for you, and you can be the architect that kind of puts all the pieces together. Maybe architect's the wrong word because you will need to hire an actual architect, but you essentially are the master coordinator that puts all the puzzle pieces together, and then you hire a builder to actually execute on the build, and then you would be financially responsible for the conventional loan with 5% down. Anyway, let's jump in on the iPad. I'll show you kind of what I did, and then we'll go from there. I started off by, number one, putting together an investor package. Now, what is an investor package? And where do you get one, and what does it look like? Really simple. An investor package is, number one, profit projections or a pro forma. So, and or a pro forma. So what is a pro forma? A pro forma is simply a one-page Excel document or Google Sheets, you name it, and it's going to have the land, it's going to have cost to build, and it's going to have the sales price. Some people like to include inside of here. They like to include finance cost. So you can also include finance costs in this, or you can have it completely separate. So this is the first step to having an investor package. So you have something to present. Then, two, building plans. Right? You want to show them what you're going to build via a rendering, via building plans, via comps, you name it. So that's going to be very important. And then really probably the last step is either a cover letter or some kind of presentation just to beautify this and make it look good. This is how I did it. So number one, I got land under contract. I found a building plan that would fit. I created a one-page profit projection. And then I met up for coffee, met up at real estate events, networking events, and I said, hey, I'm willing to give you the capital position of bringing in the capital. I'll do all the work. I'll get all the permitting. I'll build the entire house. I'll get the hard money construction loan. You just bring the equity side, the down payment. And I was able to raise conservatively over $5 million doing this, and we've built a lot of houses doing this method. Right now we have roughly 100 in permitting right now. We're using a lot of our own capital to develop it, and then we bring on investors to do the actual construction portion of the build.
Thank you so much for getting this far into the video. If you're an action taker and you're looking for the education side of things, the tools, the resources, everything you need to be successful in the real estate development and new construction game, we have an education platform specifically for you.
Awesome. So text the word YouTube to 360-216-0323, and we'll get you connected to the right team member. I'll let you in a little bit on my personal story on my very first build. So at the time, I was working for a national builder. I was a assistant superintendent, and truly what that really means is I was a glorified cleaner. Like, I was walking around picking up trash, putting it to the front of the job site. The trash company would pull up to the front of the home in a subdivision, and they'd load the trash and throw it away. And I was in charge of doing to-do checklist items, very simple things like drywall touch-up, paint touch-up, fix the flooring dent, replace the flooring, adjust the door, HVAC system, AC is not turning on. So I would create these lists. I would work with the approved subcontractors that we were working with, and I would get the house to the finish. So I want to emphasize on how little construction experience I had when I did my first deal. And so a piece of land came up on the market. My brother was trying to get into real estate as well. At the time, he was working for a developer. He he was a little bit too afraid to take action and get into the deal. So I took the deal. I said, hey, give me the lot, I'll do it. And so I start calling people. This is when the first time I ever started, I didn't even know what a pro forma was. I didn't even know anything. And I said, hey, the land is 120,000. If you bring that, if you bring the 120,000, I'll do all the work. I work for a builder. I know how to build a house, and I'll do all of the work, and we'll split the profit 50-50. That was the conversation. I had about 5 or 6 of those conversations, got 5 no's, and finally I got 1 yes. So he wired the money to the title company. We closed on the land, and I started to look for a hard money lender. Hard money lender gave me that. I believe at that time it was a $255,000 loan to build, and we built a 2,392 square foot house. And truly, the only way I got those building plans was by asking the builder in the neighborhood where I was already building. So this was a leftover lot. So I got the building plans from him. I used his architect. I used all the resources that he already had, and I built a house that fits that neighborhood. I built this house in roughly 6 months. I get fired from my job because this was a conflict of interest. I didn't know. They didn't tell me that I wasn't allowed to. Funny story about that. Like they had this whole training session and said, hey, here's an employee handbook about this thick. Read it. She walks around the office one loop and she goes, hey, are you done? And I'm like, yeah. Give her back the book. She's like, great. I'll check off that you completed the training for our employee training. And so I was like laughing. So that's how they do their company policies, but whatever. So I never knew you weren't allowed to get fired for it. House is still in market. I'm jobless. I have a $3,000 hard money loan payment. Don't know what to do. Don't know how to pay it. Freaking out. Finally, I get an offer, and I made $53,000 on my very first deal. Split that with the investor, and now I get an aha moment. I made my entire year's salary into one deal. And after that, I went all in. So I went to a wholesaler. He had a few deals available. They came with building plans, approved building plans, and syndicated that. Same situation. They bring the down payment, I do the build, and then we sell for a profit. Hard money loan lenders typically will give you a loan, whether you have the experience or not. You can show them how little experience you have. It's just most of the time it'll be higher interest and higher points to close. And so put that next deal together. It was a duplex with 2 ADUs at the bottom, so technically like a 4-unit, but truly it was a duplex with 2 ADUs. And then syndicated on a 6-unit. My knees were shaking and I was so scared going into a 6-plex. Huge learning curve, never built one before. But when I was managing for the builder, we did build 4-plexes, and really the only big difference was firewalls. And so it took me a little bit to figure that out. It took me 6 months to build that 6-plex as well. So I was getting a little bit better at building, and I was starting to stack the schedule a little bit better. And we made crazy profit on that one. I think probably 250 or 300% cash on cash return on that one. So that one was a massive blessing. And after that, guys, I was hooked. After that, we probably bought 50 more units at that time, and we syndicated all those with different investors. And from there, the rest was history. And now, fast forward, we're 250 builds in. Little to none of your own capital needed to do this. Just ambition, build, hard money loans, and I made a ton of mistakes along the way. I would have really rather bought in better areas. Number one, biggest takeaways for me, had less holding costs, less extensions, less delays in construction. So I had less projects but more quality work, or even projects in better areas. And then really I think that would be it. Those are my biggest takeaways. And thanks for tuning in. This is how I did it with none of my own money, syndicated with investors, and was able to take home a great income. I think you could do it too. Like, share, subscribe if this video is valuable. Ask any comments. I'll answer every single one of them. Till next time, let's crush it.